I really enjoy walking into a room and turning on a bunch of machines and having this very physical relationship with the knobs and the sliders and being able to touch things and have them change and having, you know, this frequency slider is always going to have, you know, a similar meaning on this machine, and I can always go to it and understand how it's going to work. Roland SH-101 is the first synthesizer that I ever had. I acquired this synthesizer in the late 90s, maybe 1997 or 8, something like that. I've learned how to really do synthesis with this machine, but it's also a very flexible machine. I can use it for noise tones and for bass, for, you know, higher melodic content, for all of those things. So today I have this machine hooked up to a social entropy engine, which is a modern box. This is a hardware sequencer, and so it's controlling all the notes and all the triggers that are going into the 101. The first thing that I'm going to play for you is just the noise on this machine, which I think is really, really beautiful. And these kinds of tones I like to use as layers and tracks, or just to add a little bit of environment. To me, it sounds like the forest, and sometimes like the ocean. And there's really a wide range, even just listening to the noise generator on this machine, of the kind of quality of tone and the types of tones that you can get out of it. You can make it sound really frantic, like a storm, or harsh, even like traffic. And then with the envelope generator, it can really be pulled back, and it becomes percussive, and the kind of thing that can be used when creating drum patterns. So these types of sounds I can use in a drum machine or just as loops. The noise generator is really only one part of what the oscillator in this machine can actually do. These long sliders allow to kind of really smoothly mix in actual music tones. And then the noise just sort of becomes part of the gritty edge of the main sound. If you remove the noise altogether, you can get a very, very pure sort of oscillator tone. And then use the sub-oscillator to kind of bring in more depth to the tone. The filter allows the complete sort of shaping of the tone. I really, on this machine, like the relationship between the frequency and the resonance. Which almost gets into a kind of a acid kind of a sound. And when I'm creating sounds, I might start using this sort of lowest range of frequencies, but this machine makes it really easy to kind of change that and listen to what it sounds like at, 8 feet, at 4 feet. Something that was a bass tone can become, a lead melodic line and the sliders on this is almost like a full-time job. It requires all of the presence of mind and attention, which is why it has this modulating section, which allows you to use the LFO to sort of affect the sound without having to do it yourself. I like to construct songs in this way because I can really focus on the synthesis and on the design of the sounds within the machines as the sort of first pass of things. And then I have these very pure recordings of just machines in the computer, and any other changes that I make to them or any other effects that I add, or compression or EQing or anything, is being done on the sort of most pure, unaffected sound that's available to me. So what I have set up in the sequencer is kind of a sketch of a song. There's some sequences in here for the 101, for the CMU810, and also for the Mother 32. And what I'm going to do is just sort of play through them and layer the different sounds. And I'm going to start with the 101 here, and something that I like to do, which is just mix on the frequency to bring a sound in, rather than even mixing out a mixer, just kind of bring a sound in really slowly with the actual synthesis itself. This is something that I do all the time in live performance, is have a sequence running and sort of use the parameters on the synthesizer itself to control how that tone comes into the mix. The CMU810 set up to sort of do a very, almost like a string kind of a tone. And again, I can really control the presence of the sound by adjusting the synthesis. In this case, I'm just kind of using the envelope to control how that sound is coming into the mix. And always adjusting the parameters on as much as I can at a time. And this is the part of life where I wish I had like 4 extra arm attachments or something, so that I could touch all the sliders at once. On the Mother 32, I have a sequence, but, well, it's 3 sequences or it's 1 sequence, depending on how you think about it. But I have it broken up into different locations, so that I can bring it in layers. And so a lot of the elements of the arrangement or of the construction of a song really come from how these sequences are starting and stopping, and how the sounds are being shaped in real time. You can get a lot of feeling from slow changes, and you can use the shape of one sound or one machine to even bring emphasis to what's going on the other machines. And variations as well. And when I'm doing a sketch of a song, I might have you know, 2 or 3 or 4 different ideas about what a sequence could be on a particular machine and sit around and just listen to it in a bunch of different ways until I decide that I like it and that that's what the track should become. Try things, and when you like them, do more of it, and when you don't like it, try the next thing. I mean, today especially, there's so much gear out there, and there's so many different possibilities on workflow, so it really, I feel that it really comes down to what you're comfortable with and what's fun for you. But I really enjoy sitting around and just listening to tones and listening to sequences, so that's what works for me. And what works for you might be something completely different. Absolutely creating my own world every time I turn on the studio.